Gaurav Arya, Republic Strategic Affairs consultant, joining me right now, even as we will get you more guests and their thoughts. Gaurav, the biggest question mark here is right now whether the police can just willy-nilly decide they want to reopen an old case, a case that has been closed after a magistrate's nod or a judicial nod has to be reopened with due checks and balances by the judiciary. And that's exactly the point that has been made in the hearing today.
Well, Shivani, this afternoon I had the honor and privilege to speaking to Dr. Ved. I spoke with him, and he's the former DGP of Jammu and Kashmir. And when I mentioned the 1861 Police Act, he told me that, Gaurav, you have hit the nail on the head, and the problem is this. Now, this act, it's very interesting and it's related directly to this case. This act was created after the first war of independence, what the British called the first mutiny, 1857. They ensured that we create a police force in this country that is used for the subjugation of the locals. We have not had the time or the courage to change this act, and today whatever you're seeing is a direct resultant of that act of 1861. Just imagine 1861, so many years have passed, centuries, and yet this act stays. So this is the act that gives police draconian powers. We ask, can the police do this? Of course they can. They've been doing it all over the country. They've been doing it in Mumbai. They did it to Arnab Goswami. They, without a warrant, without anything, they just banged into his house. They physically assaulted his son. They misbehaved with Samya, right? They sort of manhandled Arnab. They did not allow him to give medicines to his parents-in-law. And, just look at the screen. They're right there. And one journalist with a pen. How dangerous can Arnab be? Inside his house with his family. What does that guy have? Yeah, one pen in his pocket.
In fact, the optics of that entire, whatever played out at his residence, it's not really just any arrest. It's like you're raiding someone who, who's a terrorist. You need so many armed guns, armed police officers to do this. What is the message that you're sending?
Absolutely.
That the entire might of the state is going to come down to you just because we don't like what you say?
No, of course. Arnab committed a great crime. How dare he speak about Palghar? How dare he call Sonia Gandhi Antonio Maino? How can he do that? Of course he can't do that. Nobody can do it. See,
that's the message that they're trying to send.
Absolutely.
But frankly, nobody is going to take that message. And the protests on the streets, Gaurav, that are happening are precisely because of that. That the government cannot scare anyone into, subservience. I've also got Major General G.D. Bakshi joining me on the show, and also Subhash Jha, lawyer. I want to first quickly go across to Subhash Jha. General Bakshi, please grant me some time. Because I want to understand, the crux of the matter here, Subhash Jha, is whether the police itself can just decide they want to reopen a case that has been closed with a proper closure report, even though nobody went to courts to seek for any reinvestigation. And the arguments have been made in court today. We are awaiting, of course, for those proceedings to continue tomorrow. But I want your thoughts as well on what has transpired.
Yes, let me tell you at the very outset as to what this case is in a very nutshell. The date of the suicide is 5th of May 2018. The son and the mother were found dead in a farmhouse at Alibag. Now, thereafter, the matter was investigated thoroughly, and the investigation went on for nearly 11 months. On 16th of April 2019, an officer of the rank of Deputy Superintendent of Police of that area files a report. And the report obviously is after investigation is being conducted by the police officer of the rank of PI, I suppose, police inspector. He conducts a thorough investigation for as long as 11 months and thereafter files a closure report. That report, of course, is vetted by other officers as well. And finally, it lands up in the hands of an officer of the rank of Deputy Superintendent of Police. He then, after having vetted that report, submits it to the court of the concerned magistrate, saying that it is a summary report which is being filed, meaning thereby that there is no case made out so far as this case is concerned, where anybody could be prosecuted with the aid of 306. So that report was accepted by the court of a magistrate at Raigad. So having done that, you're right when you say so, that if at all they wanted to embark upon an investigation as contemplated under subsection 3 of section 173 of CRPC, then it was imperative for the police to have sought permission of the concerned magistrate, justifying and disclosing that, look here, this is a case which we wish to reopen after having closed it. I said that forget about anything, closure or otherwise, let us see the case as it is. The question which needs to be addressed at the very outset is whether on the face of it, would it disclose commission of a cognizable offense? And if this could be an offense, I'm sorry to say that no one in this country could be said to be safe. Anybody could be pushed to the jail anytime by the police. I tell you, there is a need. I'm glad that
I just want to quickly highlight what lawyer representing Arnab Goswami has said on in the court today. Without judicial order, further investigation could not be done. Basically, the idea is to basically the contention is that the entire arrest only is illegal. Also, the stay of investigation can be ordered if the liberty of a citizen is at risk. We'll further, of course, wait the court's observations and order in this. I also want to quickly go across to Gaurav Arya. Gaurav, you heard what Subhashja is also saying. You know, there have to be checks and balances, and they exist precisely for this reason, so that police cannot do whatever they want on their own. I also want to highlight here, Gaurav, that the Home Minister of the state has ordered this so-called reinvestigation. But Shiv Sena wants to come out and say, oh, we don't act out of revenge or vendetta. The state has nothing to do in this. The police does what it does. They can't fool the public like this. When the Home Minister is himself opening the reinvestigation, and as has been argued in court without any judicial, nod, then the state is very much involved. They cannot shy away from the responsibility here. Gaurav. And you also have Major General G.D. Bakshi.
Absolutely. Shivani, it can't be done like that. And you're very right. This is why we have checks and balances. And this is nothing but misuse, gross misuse of state power, in which the state machinery has decided to use the police, use an encounter specialist, Sachin Vaze, use special operation group commandos, use riot police to intimidate. This entire idea of getting so many vehicles and going with automatic weapons, carrying policemen into Arnab's house was just to intimidate him. So he is in a state of shock. This is typical tactics, whenever a counter-terrorism force will enter a house. This is typical. When they enter a house, they'll throw a flashbang, they'll take a weapon, and there'll be a lot of noise. It shocks the person. These are tactics which are used, and unfortunately, it failed because Arnab did not get intimidated, but they tried to use the same tactics, shock and awe, as the Americans would like to say. I have General G.D. Bakshi sir with me. Sir, Jai Hind, and my question to you is, sir, it's not a question, it's a statement, sir, and I want you to critically analyze, because we are analysts, sir. We are analysts, and this is what we do. We analyze for a living. And my analysis is this. The moment the Mumbai police entered Arnab's house and arrested him, Arnab won, sir. And I'm making this bold statement on national TV. Arnab won. वो जीत गया, sir. उन्होंने उसको arrest करा, वो जीत गया. Because sir, prima facie, they don't have a case. And secondly, what you have done is, India's biggest name in journalism, what you have managed to do is put him out as one of the greatest proponents in India of free speech, because today, I'm not saying it, sir, the images on television screen are saying it. People all over the country are on the streets, every city. Now, people in the villages are talking about it. How can you arrest somebody like this? You see, sir, the state in India has got a very morbid history of coming down very hard on the common man. Very hard on the common man. We know how difficult it is to go to a police station and register an FIR, sir. This is the same heavy hand of the law which has fallen on Arnab Goswami, and unfortunately, the hand of the law now, which is the unlawful hand, by the way, sir, it's not doing so well, sir, because they did it illegally. Your comments, please, sir. General G.D. Bakshi, sir.
Thank you, Gaurav. Thank you. Gaurav, in the army, we were told stake analysis. What is at stake? And I'm very sad to say that something very big is at stake, which far goes beyond any individual, any institution. It is not a matter of the TRP of Republic TV. It's a matter that concerns each and every one of us. We gave ourselves a constitution. We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved, to give ourselves social justice, liberty, equality, all this is enshrined in your constitution. Liberty of thought, belief, faith and practice, liberty of life, liberty, safety of life, assurance of what is the state required to do? Arnab, a state has to be a very mature state which protects the constitution, upholds the constitution, protects the rights of the people, the right to free speech, the right to criticize, the right to, upbraid their leaders. This is given in a democracy. And Arnab, the assault is on you, me, every Indian. You are taking away our freedom of speech. You are taking away one of the pillars of any democracy, the press. It is a concerted assault worse than the emergency of 1975. I lived through that. I never heard of 70 men being sent to arrest somebody. Even when Subramaniam Swamy, Dr. Subramaniam Swamy was arrested, it was 8 guys from the Intelligence Bureau. Here we have 70 armed men with an encounter specialist. Encounter for whom, my boy? For a journalist? You are saying he's an armed terrorist?
Right.
You sent 70 guys with AK-47s to pick up one of the senior most editors of the media today. Where is the rest of the media? No, Gaurav, I ask you, they are showing a bloody yellow streak. And Gaurav, what we thought of people who showed a yellow streak in the army? We despised them. We hated this kind of specimens. I've dealt with a few. And fortunately in this army, 99.999%, I haven't seen a boy show a yellow streak.
Said since yesterday, whoever doesn't speak now, of course, is going to change their own character forever to come. We'll leave it at that, but stay with us. I request all of you to stay with us. We're getting a lot of response from just the ordinary public. People just coming out on the streets and saying that they want Arnab Goswami to be released at the earliest, calling this action a clampdown of freedom of speech and also, of course, the media freedom.